Hey everyone, welcome to a live Recipe for Reality with Zach and Dill. How's it going, Zach?
You know what, Dylan? It's been a day for me.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just decompress and draft some Survivor players.
Yeah, we're like merging two worlds. Draft Day and Recipe for Reality are kind of converging into one
but
special.
but Dylan, listen, I can't help but notice. I mean, we started at 18 Survivor players, which would have been a perfect like two-person draft, and we instead of doing 18 at 2, you waited till 16. I can't help it's one less person for each of us. Why'd you do that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the square root of 16, Zach?
21? I don't know. It's 4.
It's 4, so it like works perfectly. That 4 people per fantasy team, but it's like we need 4 people then, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't have.
We could do 8. We could pick 8
us.
players each, but that'd be boring. Let's play into the square root of things. Let's welcome 2 more people on to help us draft these incredible, maybe some incredible 16 players. We have Austin and Ingrid. What's up, guys?
Oh my god!
What a surprise!
What are you guys doing here?
Oh wait, Zach, I think that's just your.
It's not like we talked right before this or anything. This is so unplanned.
I know, right? It's not like I sent you all the instructions or anything.
It's not like with Austin and Ingrid is in the title of the video or anything.
Right. That's true. That's true. Well, y'all, how you doing? Welcome, Austin. You've been on the show before. Ingrid, this is your first time, but Orgers and the Org community know you all very well. How y'all doing? You excited about this season of Survivor so far?
I am. I've enjoyed it. I'm doing good. I enjoyed the second episode a lot. I was part of the minority. I feel like that actually enjoyed the first episode too. So I'm overall net positive on the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm having a good time with it. I feel like there's a lot of fun characters. And I am very much enjoying the 90-minute episodes that are allowing us to have more time with those characters.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Zach just all up in the microphone.
That was a lot of stress.
Zach just got out of a tribal council in org, and so he's decompressing after that. He survived it. And our sponsor of the day is Justice for Ingrid. Hashtag Justice for Ingrid.
Justice for Ingrid.
Sponsor.
A sponsor. We love a sponsor. Yeah, I've been a fan of this season. I think the first episode, I liked it until like the very end where I was like, quit. We don't like a quit, especially on the premiere. It's like, we want to see a vote out. But I think the actual storytelling in the premiere was very good. And then the second episode, first time ever in Survivor history that every player has gotten a confessional in the second episode, which is huge. Because usually there's like 1 or 2 that like get nothing because they're minor characters in that episode, especially the tribes that keep winning. And this is a season where a tribe keeps losing and probably will maybe keep losing. So it's like interesting that they're still giving spotlight to the other 2 tribes. Zach, what did you think of this most recent episode? Because you and I are both pretty positive on the premiere.
Good. That's so this last week was pretty crazy for me. I mean, I got to watch and catch up, but I don't have like a lot of like formulated thoughts. I opened a show. I've been playing my org, and on top of that, trying to work and get over being sick. So like, I don't have a whole lot of like interesting thoughts. I'm sad to see Brandon go because I think he's just. I thought he was just like such a good character, and I thought he brought such a cool life to the show. And he once again diminishes my point value in our safety rankings. So I had some faith in him. But I will say, like, I'm enjoying getting to kind of see the other tribes. Like you said, I'm enjoying getting to see their dynamic. I'm enjoying that it's not just like a one, we're spending so much time focusing on, everybody, only the one tribe going to tribal so that we don't get to actually know anybody else. I feel like we're getting a lot of good content, which means that there's going to be a lot of, to me, it kind of spells out that there's probably going to be a lot of power dynamic shifts throughout this season, which I am very excited about. I'm curious to see who actually like kind of leads those shifts. But I guess time will only tell, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting because like each tribe I feel like has a different way they're playing Survivor. I feel like Yellow is very old school where they're thinking about strength and people that annoy them. And then you've got Blue where it's like you thought it was men versus women, but now Kelly's in the middle between both, Brando's in the middle between both. And then you have Red where it's like the strong 4 and then J Maya and Sifu on the outside. So it's like 3 very different dynamics. Ingrid or Austin, which of the tribes have you been most excited to watch so far? I mean, is it Lulu because they're Lulu because they're a hot mess, or do you have some like favorite standout moments that have happened so far?
Do you want me to go first? I really enjoy the Reba tribe for a few reasons. Dee is like one of my favorite characters right now, and I knew she was going to be going into the season. I loved that we got a whole segment about her big toe. That's what 90-minute episodes are made of. And I absolutely loved it. I think Austin is a really awesome character and a really cool person. Shut up.
Austin, I didn't know you were on the show.
Right? I even think like I'm pleasantly surprised by Jay Maya and like watching her calculations of things. Sifu is hilarious. He is just incredible, just chopping shit for no reason. And even the like interesting dynamic we got with Drew and Julie in this episode was cool. And Drew feeling like he has two different personalities, which I think is kind of hilarious as well. I think they're a very entertaining group. I also don't see them as a group that's like losing anytime soon.
Right.
So like
flash forward to tomorrow night and they lose.
I know.
And they lose for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I just jinxed them, I swear to God. But like I just think they're a really fun tribe, and I'm glad that because of the 90-minute episodes, we're getting to see them in a way that like we didn't get to see like Erica's tribe from 41 like at all.
Right. Yeah.
Where like there could have been a lot more fun content there that we just didn't get to see because there needed to be room for other stuff.
Yeah, and the only content we got with that tribe was like Nasir being Nasir and like a
Which is
little bit of
incredible.
Sydney. But even then, they could have leaned in more to Sydney being a villain, all those things. So I agree. Yeah, the big toe thing is so good because also like it had something to do with the challenge too. Like they kind of
and then they went to a balance challenge.
That was awesome.
That was an awesome little callback. And I thought it was gonna have to be. I thought that was like a hint that she would win like a balance challenge in the merge, and she might. But like I thought it was gonna be like a long-term foreshadowing, but it was like that literal episode of foreshadowing. Austin, what's been your favorite like thing of the season so far? Like storyline or tribe? Has there been like a standout moment or person?
So I'll give some love since we've given some love to Lulu and Reba already. I'll give some love to Bello. I think one of my favorite storylines over there, at least, is I love a good one-sided rivalry. Yes. The rivalry between Katura and Bruce that Bruce has no idea is a rivalry.
Until he watched it last week. Yeah.
But I also love the whole I love the irony of like Bruce being like, I'm doing this and nobody notices. Cut to Katura. Bruce is doing this and I'm fully aware of it.
Yeah.
And just I love how hilarious and ridiculous Bruce is, but I also love how fed up with it Katura is at the same time. So it's fun to be able to somehow root for both sides of the rivalry. But that's probably one of my favorite storylines we have right now.
Yeah. Just they're doing so much great character stuff right now. And then Lulu just being such a hot mess, but Emily getting this like redemptive arc in episode 2 alone, not just like
I was an Emily stan in episode 1, so I liked Emily in the first episode, and so
of course you did.
We like
my whole thing was we haven't had. I can't. It's hard for me to name like the last time accurately, but like the last time we had someone who just like said shit and didn't care. Like I just love like if maybe I had said to some friends, I said if you wanted a good player, Emily might not be your cup of tea. If you wanted someone who's just there to cause chaos and be entertaining, there's Emily for you. And honestly, after rewatching the premiere, not everything that like seemed like Emily's being annoying was totally far off. Like the whole segment of Emily being annoyed that her tribe thinks the pyramids are giant batteries. Like, I'm team Emily here. Like, I too would be annoyed.
Yeah, it's interesting because she Zach and I were talking like we didn't want her to go home because we were like she's great entertainment, but we also weren't like rooting for her. We were like we don't like her, but we want her to survive for those reasons. But I think this episode maybe actually root for her, and it's very interesting, especially this dynamic that her and Caleb have built, being like this. Like I'm gonna fix her, and then if I take her to the end, I'm gonna not only beat her, but I'm gonna also like have a friend from it. I guess that's what he's probably thinking, but I don't know. I mean, it's giving me big Gabler vibes. Where episode 1, you're like, who's this hot mess? This guy's
we don't speak of Gabler on this podcast.
But think about the character arc though. Survivor, the new era has all been about like an arc and a character arc. And I know Erica didn't even have one really, but like the Hourglass twist was like the big climax of that season. And that was all about her. So like I feel like they're trying to find these like overarching stories to where I almost called her Sarah. Emily very much has that. So maybe we have a Gabler on our hands. I don't know, another Alec Gabler. I don't know. I don't even know what.
Whereas I wasn't happy about a Gabler win, I would not be mad at an Emily win.
But that's hilarious because Emily literally applied for the show because of how much she hated the fact that Gabler won.
Right. So Gabler is a game changer, whether he wants to admit it or not. And we weren't the biggest fans of Gabler, Zach, here, but it was an interesting win. It was an interesting winner.
Sorry, Zach turned his hat around to face the front, and it's crazy.
Wow.
Have a day.
I don't think I've ever seen
everyone.
a baseball cap going this way and not that way.
All right.
Even in the childhood,
beautiful face.
I'll give the people what they want.
I was going to say, even in the childhood photo of us, I believe your
hat. Oh, no, don't do it.
I believe your hat.
I
believe your hat is backwards, Zach.
With regret.
I have my Yankee.
What is happening?
I have my Yankee hat.
At least Zach has learned to keep the hair in the cap now.
Right.
It's true. Well,
he doesn't have
look
the
what
bangs.
happened.
You have the bangs? I mean, you got to bring back the bangs.
Oh my God, you immediately look like a teenager.
Yeah, you aged down like 10 years.
I bet you didn't expect a High School Musical shout out in this. And I can't. It needs to go back in. Okay, we're good. We're safe.
Yeah,
Let's transition.
I was gonna say, those are our big like thoughts on the tribes, but I want to get into this draft because I don't want to be here all night either. But because we all have lives and jobs. But we are doing a fantasy draft. Yes, fantasy draft.
Do have jobs and lives.
Fantasy draft where we're each, as we alluded to earlier, picking 4 players because since there's 16 now, 18 we would have had to either like do it with 3 people and 6, or we wanted to do a 16 also to give us time to like know these people for real, not just like watch them in a preseason video, because as we saw, like Brandon, very confident, I guess you could say, maybe in the preseason.
Very entertaining.
Yeah, but definitely probably didn't expect him to be as rough in challenges as he was.
This girl would have picked Hannah first.
There you go.
If we did it preseason.
Michael Nathan's winner pick was also Hannah, if I recall. So it just goes to show. But she was a theater kid too. I might have picked her as well. But we have 16 people left, and how this is going to work, we're going to do a snake draft. We'll decide that in a sec. It's similar to Draft Day for anyone who watches that show here on the channel. But we do have like point values for things, so we're keeping in mind not just picking players that we like, but like picking players that will get us these points, and then at the end of the season, we'll see who is the winner in terms of points. If you draft the winner of the season, it is 7 points. So that's like the highest you can get. I didn't want to go 10 because that seemed a little too extreme, because it's like you don't want to just draft the winner and win just because of that. So if you win the season, though, if your player wins the season, it's 7 points. If they survive a day, you get a point. So everyone who made it this far, this is day 5, everyone has an automatic 5 points. Whether you're Lulu or not, you've made it 5 days. You are starting with 5 points. And we are going to carry over from the first 2 episodes, which also is going to give a boost to some people, but it's still so early. Everyone's on the even playing field. If you find an idol, it's 3 points. Now, this is interesting in this season because, as we know, Sabaya has a candle, but she doesn't have her idol until she melts it. So you have to actually get the idol. So
that's hilarious.
Sabaya has 3 points pending. Austin has 3 points pending because he also hasn't, as far as we know, dug up his idol yet. Maybe they're saving it for this episode to show us, but he knows where it is. He just needs to dig for it and find it. A successful idol play or shot in the dark play, meaning if you play an idol for someone and it negates a certain amount of votes and they survive, then that's a successful idol play. It doesn't necessarily have to be all the votes. Like it doesn't have to be a Wentworth thing, but if it negates a vote, if you play a successful idol, it's 5 points, and a shot in the dark, same thing. If it says shot in the dark, safe, you get the 5 points. Individual immunity win is also 5 points, so that's not till the individual game. We're not doing rewards just because so many people win rewards, and we don't know when reward challenges are coming at all. If they're coming, I believe we're getting one this week, but I'm not 100% sure. A tribal immunity win does not count if you sit out, is 2 points. So if you play in the challenge and your tribe wins, you get 2 points. So because of that, everyone from Reba and Bello has an extra 4 points, except for Katora and Sifu, who sat out this most recent challenge, they have 7 points instead of 9. So if you play in the challenge and you win, you get 2. 10 or more confessionals in an episode. Now that they're 90-minute episodes, this actually could happen more often. Usually they don't happen until like the penultimate or finale episodes, or like if you have like a Tony extortion episode where it's like all about you. So if you hit 10 or more confessionals in an episode, we'll give you 2 points. And now we get to some of our negatives. If you get a vote against you, it's -1 point. Luckily, no one left has gotten a vote against them because Brandon and Hannah are the only 2 who have gotten any votes right now. So no one's gotten negative points on that. If we get another medevac, which I hope doesn't happen, but with the preview, we don't know if Jake's going to actually fall in the fire or not. It is -2 points. And if you quit, it's -5 points. So Hannah would have about -5 plus maybe a 3 days survived, so she'd have like -2. And then a episode title. This is a fun one I added last minute. If you get the episode title, you get a point. So Emily's got the episode title. Hannah got an episode title, but she's gone. So Emily's going into this with an extra with 6 points instead of 5. So the rules are all there in our chat that I sent you also if you need a refresher. And in terms of what the players have right now, as I said, everyone from Reba and Bello that did not sit out has 9. Katora and Sifu, because they sat out, have 7. Everyone from Lulu has 5, except for Emily, who has 6 because she got an episode title. And Austin and Sabaya are pending 3 points if they can actually get their idols. Sabaya will probably get it this week. I'm not sure. Actually, who knows? Maybe they won't get fired. She won't get it at all. But how we're going to determine the order is I'm going to pull up a wheel of names, and this is how we do it on draft day. I'll put up our names, and whoever it lands on will get to pick their spot in the order, basically. So if you, and it is snake, so if you go 4th, you're going to have the 5th pick as well. So let me put our names in there, and let's take
I am historically bad at these wheels. It never comes up on my name first. You have low battery.
10% battery. It's okay. Austin, it looks like it's you. So, Austin, do you want to go 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th?
Pooh, you suck.
I agree.
I want to go. Oh, I need to hope that because I know who she's going to pick first, and it's not who I want first. So I just need to hope that maybe Zach and Dylan also don't want my first pick. If I want to go 4th, that way I can get a good 2nd pick too. All right, I'll take 4th pick.
Okay, Austin going to tempt fate with 4th pick. Love it. So it's like a merging of worlds, draft day, and must be freed out. All right, Ingrid, you're going to get either 1st, 2nd, or 3rd pick. Ingrid, which would you like?
I think I'm going to take 3rd.
3rd, all right. And Zach and I are going to be fighting it out for the 1st and 2nd picks today. Zach, it's going to be you. You want 1st or 2nd?
You know what, Dill? I think you should go first. So
okay. So we don't have to change. I was going to change the windows around, but it looks like we're all in the right spot. Okay.
Nice.
So I get 1st pick. I didn't actually think about who I was going to pick because I didn't think I'd get 1st. Do I want to just pick? No, I can't do it. I'm like thinking in my brain what I want to do. Okay. I'm going to pick someone that I think is going to get a lot of confessionals, advantages, episode titles. Like, I think they're just going to be a big character. I don't know if this is a winner, but I just feel like we're going to get a lot from Drew this season. So I'm going to pick Drew as my 1st pick. He got a really big 2nd episode, playing the 1st episode, the 2 multiple personalities, giving us that early on, plus photos of his like graduate school or whatever. And then episode 2, he's in a tight final 2 with Julie, has an alliance with Austin and D. I just think, obviously, things could turn on Drew if he becomes too cocky, but I think right now he's playing it like he's going to be like almost like the final boss, like the Jesse of the season, to where I could see him being like your final 4 fire-making loser. Now, obviously, I want to pick the winner here, but I have so many winner picks that I don't necessarily want to go for them because sometimes winner picks are under the radar. They're not going to get me the points elsewhere. I think Drew could win an immunity. I think Drew is on a tribe that can win a lot of challenges, and I don't see Drew quitting or anything like that. So, I like Drew. Any thoughts on Drew? Anyone can want to give their thoughts? I guess we'll give our thoughts on each player when we go. Austin, you had a reaction. What are your thoughts on Drew?
I don't have strong like pro feelings or con feelings against Drew. He probably just like for me, he wouldn't have been in my top, maybe even like 8 to pick. I don't know. I don't know. The thing is, I really like this cast.
That's fair.
I get where you're coming from. I think he is going to get a decent amount of airtime. He has the capability for like gaining advantages, getting episode titles, stuff like that. So like it makes sense in terms of the point system.
Mhm.
He just probably isn't in my upper half of people I would have wanted on my team. So I am okay with him being your first pick because it's not my number one pick that I am hoping Zach doesn't take because I know she's not taking it.
Gotcha. Ingrid, what are your thoughts on Drew?
I think he's fun. I think he's entertaining. I think he's like an interesting character in the sense of like I feel like he's like a mold of a couple of different types of characters that we see on the show. Like I think like if Carson and Cochran had a baby, it would be Drew, and I really like that because obviously like I personally am not a Cochran hater like a lot of people are, but I think he has the good qualities of both of them. And I think he definitely has the ability to go far. I definitely don't see him being first out on his tribe or anything like that. So I think he's a good pick. He also wasn't my first pick, but I think he's a good pick. And I'm happy to pick him because it's not my first pick.
Yeah, right. Zach, are you happy with me picking Drew here?
My thoughts on Drew are his name starts with D and ends in W, and that's about as much as I've got. No, that's different. I mean, I think you and I had our thoughts and our feelings at the beginning of the season. Is it a good pick? I think he probably will get you a lot early. I think you're going to struggle later on.
All right, we'll see. Yeah, he could be your earn the merge boot. We don't know. All right, Zach, who's going to be your first pick though? Who's going to be your rep on the fantasy draft? Your quarterback on your team?
Take him off the board. Austin's my first pick. I think Austin is going to net me a good amount of immunity wins. I think he's going to net. I mean, he's got those 3 points pending. I think he is going to find them. I think he's going to find that idol. I think he's got a lot of. My reason for picking Austin is even if it's not right off the bat, I think he's got a lot of longevity. I like that. I like that opportunity that probably will present itself. And I don't think, Austin said, I think Ingrid just said it. I don't think he's first boot on that tribe. So I think I think he's got enough of a case for him to stay. I think what has been focused on with him in episodes has been really, really good. They're showing that he's there to play the game, and I like that. I like players who are there to play.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna get an idol, so that's good. He's tight with Drew, so Zach, it's like we're aligning already, which is good. It almost seems like Austin has his number one's Drew, but Drew's number one is Julie and Austin. So I don't know if Drew would take Julie or Austin. Maybe that's your final three. I don't know. Austin, thoughts on Austin?
I really like Austin. Probably would have been my second pick for my team. I know she was also very much probably going to take him though. Ingrid,
I'm curious if you're gonna take who I almost took. I'm gonna be really upset.
I also know who Ingrid's about to take, so I do know that my top pick is gonna be secure. I know I will get them. But no, Austin's a great pick. Already, like if we go ahead and add those pending points, because I don't see the world in which Austin doesn't get this thing. Unless we do see the world where like Austin has told Drew now. So what if Drew goes and digs it up and then that throws everything off?
Points for me.
But yeah, Austin theoretically right now potentially has the most points already in the draft. So I think Austin's a solid pick.
Cool. Ingrid, any thoughts on Austin? That Austin, not this Austin.
For both of them, I love Austin. I think that he's a really, really good pick. He is like I was in between him and another player for my first pick, and that like kind of helped me narrow it down, which is good. But at the same time, like sad that I didn't get to have him. My concern about Austin is his like win potential in the end game. He is somebody that I could see like going out towards the end game if he loses a challenge or something, just because he is like, I think it's like Idled Out uses this award on YouTube that's like the Him Spradlin Award, and it's like a person that just looks like they'd be really good at Survivor. And I feel like Austin is our Him Spradlin on this season. And so I think that like it's not impossible for him to win by any means, but he's somebody that I feel like is more likely among the winner picks in my brain to not make it to the end because other people are threatened by him.
Right. Yeah. He almost comes across as like a more strategic Ozzy or
Yes.
Wu, you know, but not as like physical as Ozzy, like a mix between the two. I don't know.
And I think that's more so what he was saying. He's hoping to be looked at as like a Wu.
Yeah.
And people not realize how strategic he is.
Yeah. Well, we got a Tony on that tribe too, a Sifu, I guess. So it's possible.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Ingrid,
well, you do have the next pick. So who are you going to pick? It sounds like you got the person you want. Who do you get?
Yeah, I'm going to pick D.
Nice.
She's my homegirl.
I really like Reba here.
Her, Ingrid.
I love her
so you and
so
Zach were between
much.
the same two people.
I love D so much. And I think what is exciting about D is like she's relatively under the radar, but she's still getting character content. And that means that she's an important part of the season in some way. Could she win? Maybe. Will she be in the game for a long time? I think so. And I think that she is the kind of player that on the opposite end from Austin is somebody who could like fly under the radar into that final three, seeming unassuming in a way like Marianne or Erica did, and then come out on top at the end. So I think she's a really solid choice in terms of a winner pick. I also just really enjoy her, and I think she's beautiful. She's nice to look at, but she's also just really funny and amazing, and I'm excited that she's on my team. Yay!
Yeah, no, I love D. If I had to rank like who I think is most likely to win right now, she's like my number 3 right now. I'm really looking at her, and my number 1 on that tribe right now as like the most likely winner because she's getting that unnecessary content. You know, the content that they don't need to show, but why would they show? It's because she's like going to end up maybe making a run. I love it. Zach, any thoughts on D? I know you almost picked her.
I love D. I think she was a great pick, Ingrid. I think again, like when we're picking these. When we're doing first picks, you're either picking with longevity or you're picking with longevity in order to like gain points. And the reason why I actually ended up picking Austin over D is because I think Austin just has a little bit more individual immunity win potential later on. But I think Austin, to your credit, has a lot less of an ability to like be here long enough to win the game. Whereas I think D, very much in what you were saying, I think D, personality wise, and this is something that we talked about preseason, Dome, like I think she exudes like comfort, and exudes like an ease to connect with, and I think that that's going to be something that really benefits her in the long run because she'll start to fly like I'm just really repeating what we're saying, but she really will probably start to fly under the radar. And there are a lot of big personalities on this cast that are not going to have that ability. And unless they all decide to target her, which I don't foresee happening, I think she's got a lot of wiggle room. And sometimes in Survivor, all you just need is a little wiggle room because as long as you get to the right when everybody else is going to the left, you're going to be okay. And I think she's probably, honestly, like overall, probably the most likely to be able to do that. Yeah,
and it's worth noting that like people came to her to make an alliance. Like Julie and Drew and Austin, she didn't approach anyone else. Like Julie and Drew have been approaching people for alliances. Austin approached Drew for an alliance. Everyone approached D. She didn't approach anyone else. So that's really awesome. Austin, any thoughts on D?
Yeah, she would have been my pick if my number 1 had gotten taken. D is probably who I have ranked as number 2 for most likely winner of the season. And I think she's funny. She's going to get airtime. Yeah, I think it's a really good pick.
Carly Perkins says, I really like D. Yeah, we like her too. Austin, who do you like most, though? Who's going to be your pick?
All right, my number 1, my preseason winner pick, my still winner pick. I'm taking Katura.
Ooh, love that pick.
I'm taking Katura, Zach.
I thought about it, and I was
like, I should take her.
I should take her, and I didn't.
Yep. So going forth paid off. I was hoping to maybe be able to swing Katura and either D or Austin. Those would have been my next 2.
Absolutely not.
Get out of here. Get out of here with that.
I knew that those were the 2. D and Austin were the 2 Ingrid was between And I was hoping maybe you two just had two other people. But no, Katura, I think, is great. I think she has a really good story in both the first two episodes. Like, we get a lot from her in the first episode of like, it's a lot of Katura's right and other people are wrong is what I feel like we're getting in the first two episodes of, like, I'm not going to tell people I'm a lawyer. Cut to Jake telling everyone he's a lawyer. Bruce saying, no one realizes I'm doing this. Katura, I realize Bruce is doing this. Like, I think it's a lot of putting a spotlight on Katura that she's right. So while some of, like, Dylan, you said you were picking Drew because of a lot of points, but maybe not a potential, like, winner. I'm 100% yes, Carly, you're correct. Katura, so smart. But I'm going with winner because I think, one, that does still get me longevity, and it gets that bonus 7 at the end. And I don't think Katura will be a complete slouch in challenges. I know she sat out of this one, but could have very well just been, it was a water challenge, and she didn't want to do the water challenge. Like,
well, we saw Sifu sit out, and he's the biggest, strongest guy on that tribe. So, like, yeah, I think it's a matter of who felt more confident swimming, because it's all swimming in balance on the balance beam. So,
but I am very happy to have gotten Katura with my first pick.
Yeah, I mean, Dee was my number 3.
How great she is now.
Dee was my number 3 for winner pick. She's my number 2, Katura. So, like, I agree. I think she's great.
She's my number 1, and Dee's my number 2.
Nice. She just gives me such young Suri vibes. Just in the way she's able to, like, be sassy to the cameras, but very chill and calm and cool and collective with everyone else. And just the way she's able to clock stuff. I love the conversation with Jake in episode 1 where she was like, what's a lawyer? Oh, that's so cool. Tell me about that when she's a lawyer.
What does ADA stand for?
Right. And Jake's like, oh, well, this is this and this is that. And Katura's just like, yeah, I know, but I'm, like, playing dumb, like the dumb little girl. And she's also playing younger than she is. She's 35, and she's playing like she's in her early 20s out there, which is really helpful. Ingrid, what are your thoughts on Katura?
Yeah, I mean, I think she's really cool. I think that Austin is a little bit more in love with her than I am, which is why I was happy to let him take her. I mean, she's very entertaining. I will say that. She's very entertaining. I think she's going to have a lot of airtime, especially with the storyline that's being developed on that tribe. I think there are other people on her tribe that are better positioned than her. But I at the same time, I think that she's doing a really good job. I think Austin's right. We are seeing a lot of, like, Katura is right content. That was, like, a really good way to say it in, like, an edit standpoint. But yeah, I don't think that she's going anytime soon, but I also feel that way about, like, half of the cast at least. Right. So I'm sure we'll be surprised at some point. But I think she's a good pick. And I am okay with him having her at the same time. And I have yet to win a draft against him, so that's saying something.
Zach, any thoughts on Katura?
Devastated. Devastated. And that was I literally thought to myself, I should pick Katura first. I've starred people who I think were worth picking, and she was the first person I starred, and I was like, and I only didn't pick her because I thought her sitting out might have a little bit of a push towards people maybe being like, well, Katura sat out of the challenge the first time. But you know what? I trust. Yeah. I went against my better judgment, and your gut is always right.
Well, there's a new element to the season that they added back from the old school days. If you can't sit out the same person in 2 challenges in a row,
is it in a row? Game changer.
Is it in a row or at all?
Yeah, so it's a new. It's actually not going back to old school. It's a new rule. Okay. Because even in old school, it used to reset on episode cycles. Now it's you cannot whoever sat out the last challenge we did, they cannot sit out this time.
Right. So that's going to be good for everyone. For like this week, I feel like it was also like we're very strong. Lulu sucks. So like, let's save Sifu for the next challenge if it's like a big, strong guy challenge and sit him out. Let's sit out Katura because the other ones are better swimmers, and like we'll use her for the next challenge if we need her for like puzzles or speed or anything like that. I love that. Austin, you get a back-to-back pick now, so you get to kind of wrap around here. Is there an obvious choice here, or does it involve some thinking here?
This is some thinking here. This is the thinking I'm currently doing.
Pulling up the cast list there.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
While you're doing that, Carly in the chat says, I love the candle thing so much. I wonder if melting it at Tribal wasn't allowed. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder, only because I don't think she told Emily about it. I'm wondering if she didn't want to expose it. But I feel like if everyone in the tribe knew, why not?
She could have used her torch on the way back to camp. I don't know.
True. Yeah, because they don't put those out till they get to camp. Yeah, she should have done that. Or I feel like you can melt the candle without fire. You just put it in the sunlight. I mean, it's hot as hell in Fiji. I feel like she could have melted it down. I don't know the time she found it versus the time they had to go to tribal or challenge or anything like that. Also, another thing, the other tribes have flint. Is there a way, if there's a reward challenge next episode, she goes to the reward challenge, says, here, take my candle, D, melt the candle and bring it back to me at the next challenge, kind of like a JT Russell Hantz move. Is that possible?
I think
maybe.
Always possible.
I mean, it's always possible, but it's very risky. But that's the type of gameplay I would love to see.
You have to put a lot of trust into that.
Right.
All right.
Hey, Drew,
I'm ready.
Burn my candle. All right, Austin, go ahead.
I'm gonna take the biggest risk out here.
Oh no.
I'm taking.
He's
Emily.
doing it. I knew it.
I was so confident I could get her in the second round. She was going to be my next pick, Austin. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
You can have her.
Emily is either out in 2 episodes or she's in the finale.
Never leaving. Or she's never leaving.
Like that's where it is here. And if she's never leaving, she's getting episode titles. She's gonna find something. Like she's gonna. She doesn't care. She doesn't care if people know she's looking. She is good. The drawback for Emily that I was debating on is I think she has a high likelihood of a lot of votes against throughout the season. So there could be some like a negative pool there. Don't necessarily know. I think Emily is underrated in challenges is the thing.
Oh yeah,
I think
great.
the end part of challenges, I think Emily will thrive in. If she can get to an individual portion here. So I think individual immunities I won't count her out for. Yeah, and I think eventually, like, say Emily can link up with like Katura. Katura's gonna go to Emily immediately and be like, all right, let's get Bruce. I'm here. I've been waiting for you. You're the person who isn't blinded by him. Let's make something happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been a fan of Emily since episode 1, so I will gladly take her for hopefully the entertainment and episode title points alone.
Well, like I said earlier, I just am getting such like new era winner vibes of that arc of like, well, we have to make our winner likable, so like let's give her this redemption arc so early. It either means, like you said, she's out very shortly after this, or she's gonna make it far and potentially be like the fan favorite by the end. I can't wait to see what her trajectory is.
She's in my top probably 3 or 4 for like winner pick. I would probably rank it Katura, D, Austin, Emily.
Yeah, I have 3 of those 4 the same, so I'm with you. She's my number 4 right now, only because I just don't know. I don't know if she's already lost a jury vote. You know, I don't know if when she sits in the end, if people are actually gonna want to give her the win, if they like her or respect her. But if she can make a case, I'd love to see it. Ingrid, any thoughts on Emily?
I don't get the entertainment that this man is getting from them. I really don't.
They also said that they were entertained, so
I just when I'm entertained, I'm smiling, I'm enjoying myself. I'm not rolling my eyes or screaming at the television. That's not entertainment to me. Am I happy with the arc she is going on? Yes. Was I rooting for her to stay in the last episode?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Because I felt like it was the better strategic decision to get rid of Brandon because they were never, ever going to win a challenge with him. Ever.
Yeah. Why are you screaming?
Because I think that's very important. And also because I am loud. But I don't know. I struggle with the idea of Emily winning the game. I think she could get very far. I also think she could go home in 2 weeks, he said. But also, if she does get to the end, I kind of see her in this similar position to like Nora almost from Island of the Idols, where it's like she may have a really good case and she may be like this actually very good player, but are people going to respect her? And are people going to like give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, we saw Sabaya was almost willing to get rid of her anyway, despite the fact that it was glaringly obvious that.
Too bad Sabaya didn't have a vote.
well, right, but at the same time, like it was those three making that decision, and she was blinded by how annoyed she was with Emily for so long, and it's very possible that in a merge situation the same thing occurs, especially because she right off the bat gave all those people that first impression of her talking crap about Bruce on the boat for literally no reason. And so like I'm not saying it's impossible. It's not my pick. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I struggle to see the world in which she wins. So she's not somebody that I would have picked.
I could see the storyline being the whole like Caleb is teaching Emily how to play the game, and then Emily takes Caleb out at like Final Four and fire or something, and that wins Emily the game.
That'd be fucking epic. Zach, are you on Ingrid's wavelength or Austin and I's? Okay. There you go. Okay. You're muted, but I'd love to hear what you have to think.
Okay, I don't need to hear his crap.
I'm currently keeping track of who everyone has, and I thought it was bold to pick Emily's second round.
If he didn't, I would have, because I really do think I see her as a gambler.
And I would have looked at you and I would have said, "That's a bold move to pick Emily's second round." No, I mean, I'm kind of in the Ingrid camp of like that. She irks me. I will say there are a lot of moments where I am entertained by her. I find her very funny in terms not funny in like ha ha like jokes where I literally am just looking like holding my head in my hands like this is a real person. This is a real person who I'm watching right now play a game that she like really has no idea how to play, I don't think. And like when you're on the island, it's got to be so much different than when you know you're just sitting watching TV. But like I listen, I agree. I think she is either a 2-week or she is end of the game. The thing is, at a certain point, like, so who is left? Caleb, Sabaya, Sean, and Emily. And I think maybe she survives a Sean vote. Like, I can see them maybe wanting to get out Sean before they get her out. But I just don't think that she, like, between Caleb and Sabaya, I don't think that Caleb actually ends up picking Emily over Sabaya. And I think that's all that's going to need. Sabaya is going to be so much more useful for Caleb at the end of the day anyway, because at least with Sabaya, you know that she can probably like work around herself. Whereas with Emily, I mean, like if Emily says the wrong thing to the wrong person, the majority is just gonna go for her. And like, are you really willing to fall on your sword for Emily? Are you really willing to do that?
But who's Caleb going to beat in the end? Not Sabaya. Because Sabaya got the idol. Sabaya is likable.
I don't know. Caleb, play a better game, Caleb. I don't know what to tell you.
Austin,
yes, Austin.
You have your hand raised.
Like you just said, Zach, they're going to vote out Emily, not Caleb. It's a shield. There's point 1 to keep Emily over Sabaya. Point 2, if Sabaya has this idol or doesn't even melt it and they lose again, Caleb can be like, well, I should maybe get Sabaya out before she gets that idol. And then he knows
exactly.
it gets hidden potentially.
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
That's a lot of very specific things that have to happen.
It could be.
Also,
how many hoops? Do you want me to hold the hoops while you jump through them?
Sabaya still doesn't have a vote either until she gets that idol. If they lose again, they still don't have Flint and she can't get that idol. There's 3 people voting: Sean, Emily, and Caleb. I think Caleb would rather have Emily than Sean. But are you going to vote out Sean? You need 2 votes. You could just vote out Sabaya and say, you know what? Get out that idol, get out Sabaya, and now Emily's indebted to me, and we also still have Sean here, who is a good person to.
I don't know.
It's just a thought. I don't necessarily know if that's going to happen. I don't even know if they're going to lose now that Brandon's out. They could win a challenge. We'll see.
I could see them winning now, is the thing, too.
Ingrid, who is going to be your next pick?
I was in between 2 people. I still am kind of in between these 2 people.
While you're in between, let me say the last thing.
Oh my
God. The other reason I picked Emily was I was just looking at the rest of the list, and there was no one I wanted to pick more.
I don't know a single person who likes Emily more than you do. I don't know a single person.
He loves the like incredibly annoying people to watch on TV. Those are like.
I will say, I did sort of think you were going to pick her first, so I'm happy that you at least went with Qatar.
Austin is actually booking a flight to go to Paramount Studios tomorrow to make sure Cameron stays over Suri in the Big Brother house. So he loves annoying people.
Would never do that.
No.
The wedding would be off if he did that.
Wait, you're engaged?
What?
Also, throwback to the.
I'm so sure that whichever one of these people I don't pick, Zach or Dylan is going to pick them, and then I'm going to cry.
Throwback to the last time I was on here, and I said that I thought it was a bad idea for Serena to take out Heisem. I stand by that
correct.
call.
You're correct.
Sorry, we're not here about Big Brother, but
I mean, we could.
I'm going to bed after this is over.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to bed after this is over.
We will see though if that's a bad move.
I am gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna pick. I hate this. I'm gonna pick Brando.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. Great choice. Tell us about Brando.
I love that they're like, great choice, and Austin's like, you're stupid.
You're stupid.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think Brando is in a really good position on his tribe. I think regardless of which side he chooses to go with, I don't think he's going to have that difficult of a time gaining the favor of the side he betrays, if that makes any sense. I don't see a world where he's first or even second out on his tribe, which at this point, that's like where you kind of need to get to make the merge, theoretically, assuming that they don't lose more than that. I mean, he's obviously very smart. He's very charming. There was a huge segment in the last episode about how many people like him and how many people want to work with him. And then past that, him talking about how many options he had. So I think he's in a really, really good position. And I think we were not shown that by accident. And so I am picking him by the smallest margin over the other person I wanted to pick. So I'm not going to name who it was in case they come back to me by some miracle. But ironically, in Austin and I's draft, my first two picks are Dee and Brando. So I'm keeping to my guns here, even though we picked those.
Avoiding your other draft, your random draft.
No, fuck my random draft, first of all. But second, we do our drafts, him and I, when like you have their Instagram photos,
like
with
on
name
from Inside Survivor.
Occupation.
Oh, no. So before the bios, even
nothing about them. And those were still my top two picks back then. So
yeah,
we don't talk about my.
Zach and I preseason thought he'd be the first boot because we were like, well, if the women team up and it's between the three guys, and he's the weak-looking guy, but he's proven himself in puzzles. And
he's good.
Really likable, really social. I mean, putting the buff around him, like wearing it like all the women do, like that was just such a good idea. I love him, and I think he's going to go far. Yeah.
I have one more thing I want to say about him. This is for my org friends in the org community. I saw him and immediately thought of our dear Middle Earth friend, Elijah
Van Camp. Yeah, he is
one of my favorite people in this community. And so I was immediately drawn to him for that reason. And I do think they have a similar playing style in a lot of ways. And so knowing how well Elijah did in an org setting, it kind of has given me a little bit of a love for Brando in that way as well.
Cool. Any other thoughts on Brando? Austin, any thoughts on Brando?
The thing is
why do you think he's a bad pick?
Okay. where you said earlier that you think Reba's the tribe that doesn't lose anything pre-merge, I think it's Bello. I think Bello goes into the merge with all of their people intact. And I think Brando could be a very shiny target to get out in a merge situation for people. Especially if he does appear to kind of like be this glue of Bello. Like if people recognize if people outside of Bello recognize Brandon's position within Bello, I think he could be a very attractive like merge, or if there's like a mergatory type thing. And then if there's even less people to choose from and Brando could be there, I don't know. I think Brando could have the potential to do good. I just don't think Bello's a winner, or not Bello. Brando's a winner.
Damn.
Person on Bello. Bruce.
Yeah, what about
he will be on a silver platter at the merge.
I think Bruce and Brando could have issues at the merge. But I think Bruce could also, if there's like a mergatory situation, I think Bruce could very well be on the winning side of that.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I like Brando though as a character, as a person, and all that. Like, I don't have any issues with Brando as a person. He just wouldn't be someone I would have picked.
Zach, any thoughts on Brando? And we can transition into your next pick as well.
Yeah, enough about Brando. Let me take my next pick, please. No, for real. I'm kind of in the middle on this. I think that Brando does remind me very much of our dear Elijah. He is incredibly savvy and just like an incredibly likable human being. He's like a little bit nerdy, a little bit charismatic, a little bit like of everything. And I think that stands to do well for him later on. I do kind of agree with Austin's sentiment on, I think that he stands to be in a little bit of a tough position if that tribe does not lose a single person. But I do think that having Bruce there does assist him. The problem is if actually what ends up happening is in a merge situation, both tribes lose one person, and let's say that blue loses Bruce and red loses I'm going to use someone that's already been taken. Blue or red loses Austin. You've got two like pretty big. You everything's on an even playing field. So Brando does look like, hey, Brando's pretty good with everybody. We should not let that keep going. Which is a reason that people target people, and it is a valid assumption. But I think we haven't seen the last of Brando by any means. And I'm gonna pick. I'm going to blue.
He's good. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
No, don't do it.
I wonder if I'll take it. I was gonna pick one person, but I think that they're a little bit further out in front than this other person, and I think that that's gonna do them harm. So I think I'm gonna take Kelly.
Oh no!
Which is big because Dylan is very high on Kelly. Dylan very much enjoys Kelly as a.
Win the season.
God, not this.
I know he enjoyed Kelly preseason, and you know what I was like, I don't know. Ooh, but I'm pretty high on Kelly right now. I think that Kelly is a great game player. She is in the middle of probably the easiest tribe to be in the middle in, but somehow she makes it look so easy, and she will never be in anybody's. She will not be in periphery. She will not be out in front. She will sneak up on every single person throughout the rest of the season. I don't know if she holds a lot of point value. I think she will survive. I think she will probably at some point find an idol. She gives off just like this incredibly savvy energy, but I do think she's probably the season winner.
I'm so upset. Okay.
Yeah, that was gonna be my pick too. I was picking her as my preseason winner pick, and then after episode 1, I was in the Katura train, and now in this episode, I'm very much like it's Kelly or it's Emily for me. Because I think Emily has the story.
Get out of here.
If they go with the traditional like new era story, I think she fits that. But I think in terms of just like best positioning and getting the confessionals, kind of like what Ingrid said with D, like that you don't really need. Like the first episode, she got like the whole like, oh, I'm gonna smile to your face, but I have the dagger behind my back. Like I love that as like a winner quote, and like the fact that her and Brando ended up in the middle of this tribe scenario, I think is awesome. And I think that's so good for her. She's so well positioned. Carly loves the Kelly pick here. She says, yep, I agree. I love it too. That's why I wanted it. Ingrid, you wanted it too?
Yes, I was in between Brando and Kelly because I feel like they're in very similar positions in the game right now.
Yeah.
The reason I ended up choosing Brando over her was because I feel like he is more likely to bounce back when it comes to the side that he betrays of the two sides. Not necessarily that Kelly like can't. I don't know. I get that vibe from him. But yeah, I did not care at all about Kelly in the preseason. I was like, against literally everybody else.
Me too, Ingrid, and I'm fully like, you know
like
what?
Now, just like watching her, I feel like she's gonna do really, really well, and so I am sad that I don't get to have her.
I know. Austin, are you also on this Kelly hype train?
Kelly would have been my pick if I didn't pick Emily. So yeah, I think Kelly's got good longevity. Winner, what did you
I just want to look at the list.
Oh, I was like, what happened?
Watch. I'm out here so excited she goes out next episode.
I know. I like Kelly. I don't have much to add that everyone hasn't already said.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I'll go with my next pick. I'm gonna pick Caleb just because I feel like of the people left, he's kind of the biggest character left in terms of like he's gotten a lot of good positive content, and he's been kind of the narrator on that tribe and also kind of running that tribe in a way. I think in the preview we see Sabaya telling Emily we got to get out Caleb. I think that's a red herring. If anything, I think Caleb and Emily's gonna bring Caleb that information. Caleb's gonna say, let's get Sabaya out and get out Sabaya. I don't think Caleb's going anywhere. I think if they're gonna get out someone next, it's Sabaya or Emily. It's not Caleb. It's probably not Sean. But I think Caleb is gonna be the one who like kind of dictates that tribe if they lose again. Now the only worry of picking him is like if they keep losing, then I'm not going to get points for immunity. But when we get to the individual stage, I think he could win some individual immunities. And he's a good narrator. He might get some episode quotes, some confessionals. So I'm feeling good about Caleb. Any thoughts on Caleb?
Caleb would have been my next pick, if I'm honest with you.
Cool.
Him being off the board is tough because I think he actually might be the only one from Yellow that holds a lot of merit outside of maybe Emily. So like a Sabaya and a Sean pick at this point is kind of difficult. Sabaya holds merit because of that idol, but like Caleb is really, I think, the only one with like massive longevity. And that was going to be a big thing for me. So I think, good pick, though. And I'm really pissed that he thought of it.
Thank you. Austin or Ingrid, any thoughts on Caleb? I know we've said a lot about
he would have been my next pick.
Nice.
So this is going well for me. We're gonna put on our 45 buffs real quick.
I love it.
Dylan, we need recipe for reality buffs.
We do.
We recipe for reality buff.
I have a buff somewhere for like the 40th anniversary. It's like all the logos or whatever. It's somewhere. I need to find it.
Yeah. You can see our buff wall.
Yeah, I love the buff here. Oh, that's so good.
I told him we should have had it set up like this the whole time.
Yeah, I echo everything you said, though, Dylan, about Caleb. I think he's not the next. I don't think he is a Lulu boot at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he gets booted while on Lulu whatsoever.
If it's Stephanie and Bobby John, he's Stephanie. Like he's gonna be the last one out there if they 100%. Get decimated. But I think they'll swap before they let that happen. I think. Yeah. I don't know.
I like Caleb a lot. I agree with everything that's been said about him. He was relatively high up on my list of people to pick. I am just I'm a little bit wary because he is on this tribe, because we got not that I think he's going necessarily, but because we got the preview of them being like, let's get out Caleb next, which would be an idiotic decision, but
but Emily, so
right.
Sabaya said it.
No, Sabaya was the one who said it to Emily. It was
I know, but Emily.
Emily, all she has to do is tell Caleb, and they're voting on Sabaya. I think she's toast.
Yeah.
There we go.
I don't know. I think he has the ability to do really well in the game, kind of have like a Malcolm trajectory almost, which I think is good. But there were enough things that made me worried that I am okay with the fact that he's not on my team. Mm-hmm. But he was up there pretty high for me.
Yeah.
I want to point out just really quickly, because Ingrid had mentioned our preseason draft. Of the 8 picks that we have had so far, 6 of them are on Ingrid's side of the draft.
Nice.
That is how poorly this this preseason draft we did went for me. But it's
we've
fine.
Been drafting for
you never know.
About 5 different games now. I've won all 5 of them, so she can have this one.
I will also say, where was Erica from? Where was Marianne from?
Canada.
Where's Caleb from? Just
Canada.
saying. It could be in the water in Fiji. I picked my 4 winner picks right now that I'm thinking about are all picked by you guys, so I'm not going to pick anyone I think can win. Caleb, I think, just has longevity. Like Dee, Katura, Emily, and Kelly are my 4 winner picks. I think it's going to be a woman, but I'm still picking another guy next, which sucks because I wanted to get some lady representation on my list, but I want to pick one from each tribe. I picked Drew for the red tribe, Caleb for the yellow tribe. I'm going to pick someone for the blue tribe, and I'm picking someone. Zach, you picked my preseason winner pick, so I'm going to eye for an eye it. I'm going to pick.
Oh, I'm pissed at you, man.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think right now is the hardest hurdle he's going to have to face because I think right now he's in the most danger.
Yeah.
Him and Bruce, if the girls team up and get Brando, he's gone. Now, the only thing that's making me think otherwise, though, is that at the very end of that whole segment, the last thing we saw was Kelly and the boys. And that just makes me think maybe Kelly is going to side with the guys and get out either Kendra or Katura. I don't think that'll happen. I agree with Austin. I don't think they're going to tribal anytime soon at all, even. But I do think Jake went from being the name thrown around first episode to now the second episode. It seems more like Katura at least wants to go for Bruce than Jake, which feels good about Jake, which makes me feel good about Jake. I also think Jake is someone who is such a big personality that even if he's on the outs and not really in the numbers, he's still going to get a lot of screen time. And I don't want to play it totally into the edit, but he's going to be a big character, I think, still. I see him kind of being the underdog where he's on the outs to start, but then at the merge, maybe his game heats up. And that's probably a bad pun for what I'm about to say next, but the only hesitation is if he falls in the fire, which could be very
That's
bad.
So funny.
But I really don't think if he fell in the fire, they wouldn't just like put it in the preview. I feel like they would show a little bit more like the actual EMTs or I don't know. I just feel like I honestly think he probably inhales.
I think he's falling near the fire, not in the fire.
Or he's like, or it's like a joke thing where like he's doing some bit and he's falling and we are led to believe he's like actually passing out. I don't know. Or it's like a seizure or something. I hope he's okay. I hope he's on medevac. That's my one risk in picking him. But I do think at least this episode made me feel confident that he won't be the first boot of that tribe. If anyone, it'll be Bruce if the girls team up, or if Kelly goes with the boys, it'll be Kendra. That's where I'm at right now. So I feel like I'm good with Jake right now. Zach, it was your preseason winner pick, so I want to know, how do you feel? Did I take him?
I'm mad. Yeah, you took him. He was gonna be next. My one, I will say, while he was my preseason winner pick, he is not a current winner pick by any means. Mainly just because I think he talks too much. I think he talks too much. I think he gives too much away. I think he had a lot of, we see it with Katura, right? Like keeping the fact that he's a lawyer hidden is really could have worked to his benefit later on. Especially because I think that later on it's something that he and Katura could really have bonded over, like telling each other about it, and it could have been a really good kind of relationship and agreement between them. I don't think Jake makes the end, unfortunately. I think that he probably gets cut a little short. He's he's super likable. He's super charismatic. He has a lot going for him, and I think people are going to start to notice that, especially when you have Austins, you have, Sifus, you have Brandos, you have even like D's. Like I think as
D's what?
He's nuts.
No. I knew it. I said it, and I went, please.
We teach teenagers all day, and you have to do that.
More like these toes,
Oh God. But so I think like Katura, Kelly, even like maybe an Emily, depending on how long she's there, right? And depending on who else is there. Like I think they look at him and they go like, okay, dude, it's time for you to leave. Like I think his longevity is up in the air for me, which is dangerous, but I don't think that he's the next boot by any means.
Ingrid, Austin, any thoughts on Jake?
I was very high on Jake preseason. I still like him a lot. I think it's a good pick. I think he's there for a while, honestly.
I was one of those people that was not that high on Jake at the beginning. I don't know. But he also kind of reminds me of Joey from The Circle.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh my god, you're right.
And so like there's that kind of. I was like, he's either gonna be like terrible or he's gonna be like Joey from The Circle.
Right. Well, because
I do like him a lot.
Was going to be terrible, but ended up being really good.
I'm very nervous about this like fall situation and what that impact is going to have. I don't know. Like you said, it could be a bit. It could be. I don't think he's falling into the fire. I don't think he's going to burn himself or anything like that. It reminds me a lot of the HHH.
Cole,
where Cole Metters just like hits the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be very similar to that, and I'm hoping it's very similar to that, which would keep him in the game.
Yeah.
And it would just be like a one scene, like done deal.
Yeah. Well, even last season we saw, was it Brandon passed out at the first challenge, and then he was fine after that.
Yeah, they didn't even really show it that much, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, that was my hesitation in picking Jake. But I think he's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, if he's medevac, I'll lose some points, but hopefully he's not. All right, Zach, who's going to be your next pick?
All right, hear me out. I had someone that I wanted to pick more. I'm going against it because I don't see a really good path for them. This person I don't see a great path for either, but I see points. And so with my third pick, I'm going to take Sifu.
Okay.
Are you happy or are you
happy? I'm happy.
I'm so confused.
So, I'm also confused. I really...
Honestly, yeah, you've been probably the bigger Sifu hater of the two. I love Sifu.
I love Sifu.
Listen, I love Sifu. It's not that I don't love Sifu. I think Sifu messy. I think he's messy.
But Sifu's strong.
And that's why I picked him because while I think Sifu is messy and I don't think he has, again, I don't think he sits at the end. I have one person who I think definitely sits at the end. I could see Austin sitting at the end. Sifu, I don't think sits at the end, but even if I don't see him at the end, I see a lot of immunities. I see a lot of tribe immunities. I see a lot. I unfortunately think I see probably more votes against Sifu, but who I was considering on top of like other than Sifu, I think that he I think he probably gets less votes than the person I was considering, but like he will still get votes. But I think Sifu is good TV, and I think he does stand a good chance of like a 10 or more confessional, an episode title. I think his merit comes from because he's so messy. He's got a lot of things that he can probably have as a part of this draft. It's probably my biggest gamble because I just think that Sifu's going to be so ridiculously messy when this merge happens, and we haven't seen them have to go to a vote yet. And I'm curious when he has to go to a vote, what the hell happens? Because I think he's going to do too much, and I'm a little nervous about it.
Yeah, but even then, are they going to boot him first because he's so?
No, they need him. I mean,
don't know though.
But here's the thing: is that close enough to a probable merge, they might. Because they don't need as many votes, but it just depends. I mean, they might not lose. And I think that, you never know when merge is. And I mean, unless you're counting but even like the game that Ingrid and I were just playing, we thought we knew when merge was, and boy, howdy were we wrong. So there's always things to consider, but I think he'll end up being a good pick in the end, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Austin, you love Sifu, right?
I love Sifu. I do.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
I do. If my just like gut is correct, I don't know if Sifu's making the merge here, which is where the danger comes in. I think Zach knows that's where the danger with this pick comes in. I'm hoping we've seen the end of the Lulu losing. Wow, it's a lot of Lulu. And if I'm right on that Bello is our tribe that doesn't go to tribal before the merge, then I'm thinking Reba goes to at least 2, and we're probably losing like Sifu and Jay in those 2. We'll see, but that's kind of where my gut is. But I love Sifu. I think as long as Sifu can survive like 2 or 3 more episodes, Zach could pull out some of those points for like 10 or more confessionals. Even in his boot episode, I would imagine Sifu probably gets 10 or more confessionals and maybe the episode title. So,
yeah, I think he's really entertaining. He makes me laugh a lot when he's on screen, which is what I look for in an entertaining player. But yeah, I think that he suffers from a gameplay standpoint. And looking at Reba as a whole, I think that he's definitely on the bottom of Reba, whether he realizes it or not. And so I think that could put him in danger depending on how things go. I don't think it's the worst pick at all.
No,
there's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of potential for airtime with Sifu, with random scenes, confessionals, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good pick from that perspective. I have a feeling that the person I'm picking is the person you were thinking of picking. This is somebody that I am picking for what I'm thinking and hoping is longevity purposes, based on the people we have left. And I am going to pick Julie.
That's a great pick.
That wasn't who it was.
Oh, man. All right. I'm going to pick Julie. I think that she is in a pretty good position with how much Drew trusts her. And I think there's definitely a world where the two of them really like run it for as long as they possibly can. And I think of the two, Drew is a shield for her. So I think that Drew will get taken out before her if it's possible, like if he's not immune for some reason or something like that. So I think that like that's really good for her. I also don't think like she's not doing poorly in challenges, so they're not gonna like be like, oh, she's the old lady, we have to vote her out because she's bad at challenges. Like she has that going for her as well. I think there's a world of like Lindsay walked so that Julie could run, that kind of vibe.
That's a good way of putting it.
R.I.P. Lindsay. We were so heartbroken when that happened. But I think that I don't see her winning. I think we're kind of past the point right now of winners left on the board. If anybody that hasn't been picked wins, it will blindside me almost as much as Gabler did. But true. I think of the people left, she's a really good pick longevity-wise.
You're so real for that, Dylan. You're so real for that comment of who's left.
That's because I don't know how much airtime she's going to get.
So I could see her being a final tribal sitter, though. I could see her like sitting.
I think Ingrid locked in 26 points with this pick.
Yeah, Monica Culpepper or like not really Carolyn, because Carolyn was such a person, like such a.
I could see it almost in like the Heather vibe, but like better than Heather.
Yeah, like Julie. Yeah, she could be the Denise though. Who knows? I think Julie is the last one left that like I could see winning. I still could see her winning especially if she's there with Drew.
Who she's sitting with, I think.
If she's there with Drew and maybe like an Emily or like a Bruce, I think there's a case. Because she also has a cool story. She's also lying about being a lawyer, which I think is pretty cool. She'll definitely beat Jake if they're sitting together. So I don't know. Austin, any thoughts on Julie?
Yeah, I think it's a solid longevity pick. I don't think she's getting much points anywhere else besides that, other than being on this Reba tribe that's pretty good in challenges. But yeah, I think it's a solid pick to guarantee the longevity points at least. I don't see her going anytime soon.
Yeah, and Zach?
How many episodes are left?
A few.
No. Episodes total in this
probably
season?
Like 12 or 13 left.
Ingrid, congrats on at least 12 points.
Well, we're going by days too, so it's 26 days. 26 days.
Ingrid, congrats on 26 points. It's 26 more points. I really like. That's just. I think it's a good pick because I think she probably has the most secure longevity of anybody. I think she only goes out if a group really just decides that they don't want her to just sit at the end and they'd like to work together. But I think that that's such a long shot. And I think that I think you said it best. Like Lindsay walked so Julie could run, and I think we're going to see that. But I don't see her in the end. I see her probably like either right at the cusp of the end or like maybe a little bit before. But I do think I think you stand to gain it's a really good amount of points. I think it's a good pick right now. Yeah. With who's left, I think that was the only viable option.
Yeah. Well, also it's like she's also the one. Was she the one who put the alliance together, or was it Drew, or was it kind of like a combined?
I think it was
like
both,
a joint, yeah.
But we got her confessional first.
Yeah, and
we
that's
got her confessional saying, "I want to work with Drew because I want him to see me as his mom." And then had that confessional, and then Drew was like, "I feel really good about her." So there's definitely merit to that.
And you know, she's got a lot of weapons in that alliance too, protecting her. I mean, Drew, his advantage is more kind of selfish for him if he uses it because he could just leave tribal whenever and be safe. But if he plays it on her and gives it to her, then she could do that. I don't see why he would give it to anyone, but he's playing it up like, oh, it's a tribe thing. We can use it in the merge. So she's got that in her arsenal. She's also potentially got an Austin Idol in her arsenal, and she's got Dee's magic foot. So like she's got all the power. She's got a bag of advantages right now. So as I put in the comments, these are the remaining players. We're down to the last. Well, Austin has to pick his last pick in round 3, but then it'll be our last round. So Austin's getting his last 2 players right now. We got Bruce, Jeremiah, Kendra, Sabaya, and Sean left. I did that alphabetically as to not spill any sort of order. Austin, you're going to get to round your draft board out. Yeah. Who are you going to pick next?
Yeah. I mean, I know both my picks. I'm just seeing which one I want to technically give that 3rd round spot.
Oh my God. Just pick them off.
I'm picking simply. I'm picking based on I think there are 5 people here, and 2 I think are almost certain to make the merge. Let's give 3rd round pick to Bruce.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think Bello's winning, probably out until the merge. I do see Bruce probably being an early merge boot, but I think until that moment happens, they're milking Bruce for everything he's got. Episode titles, confessionals. Like I think Bruce is going to be getting all of that, all leading up to his eventual demise. And who knows? Maybe he doesn't go early merge. I think Bruce could very well hold his own in some challenges. I think we have a potential for some individual immunity points out of Bruce as well before he goes. So I'm happy to get Bruce here. He was my first pick in our draft. Yes. But yeah, no, I like Bruce a lot.
I still think if he gets to the end, he could definitely have a case to win. I mean,
100%. I don't think he has. I don't think
the question is though, is this could this also be a Gabler Ellie thing where Katurah tries so hard to take him out, Bruce catches wind, gets her out, and that's his like move, and then he's able to cruise.
And I think it's honestly potentially it's great for me to have both Katurah and Bruce,
right?
Because in the event that happens, now I have no matter what, I'm winning out in this rivalry.
Or you get a frenemies thing where they work together anyway. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting options for where Bruce could go. Does he get medevaced again? No, probably not. No. He wouldn't be eating up the social media if he did. He very clearly enjoyed his time playing. So I think that would have happened an episode or 10 episodes, but like he is very clearly, I mean, Brandon is very big on social media too, and he only did 2 episodes. So who's to say? Ingrid, any thoughts on Bruce?
Yeah. I think Bruce is incredibly entertaining. I think he's hilarious. I think it's funny that he thinks he's doing a good job of like not dadding out there. Because he's just not. But
God is he not?
It's in some of us, and there's nothing we can do about it. But he's so funny. I love watching him. You can tell he's having fun because he kind of has this like new lease on Survivor in a very unique way. I think that he has potential to give Austin points for like things like confessionals and episode titles and things like that, because I do think that they're going to show him as much as they can. They already have showed him quite a bit. They keep showing him saying how great of a job he's doing, even when he's not. So I think we're going to continue to get that. And I think we're going to continue to get his weird faces and all that stuff. So he's a good pick. I don't think he's going to win. So funny. But he's definitely a good pick of the people left.
The robot. I forgot about that. And who was it? He was like, Brando, what's this? What's this? And Brando's like, a robot.
He's such a dad, and he doesn't want to be.
I love it so much. I love it so much. We haven't had a good like dad like that figure in a while.
And who was on his tribe? It was Jam Jam and Carson. So I don't even know who was like the boss over there because his head was hurt. Like I don't think he's had that. So I think this time he was probably like, well, I need to lead. I don't know.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Number 4, Austin.
Yeah. What is the number 4 going to be, Austin?
Yeah. We're bleeding blue here. We're taking Kendra as well.
You can have her.
I'm not about to pick J Maya. This is literally not necessarily a pick for Kendra. It's more as a not picking the other 3. I'm not picking Jay. Sean's fine, but I feel like just super invisible to me. Not super entertaining. Not going to get me a lot of points in that aspect. Sabaya was the other pick here that I was between, but if Lulu loses again here and she then tries to push Caleb and Emily runs that back to Caleb, we could see Sabaya going here. Like I think she's in a precarious position now where she wasn't prior. Whereas Kendra, again, I'm going to keep saying it, Blue's not going to tribal before the merge, in my opinion. And if they do, I don't necessarily know that they're going to throw Kendra as the first boot there. She's a little kooky, crazy. So I think I'm going to get some confessional points, maybe an episode title here or there. I think she's an easy pick out of these 4 for points. Maybe not longevity, but maybe there is longevity there. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if those 3 girls do work together, like if it is a one world thing where our final 3 is Kelly, Katura, and Kendra, I could see that. You know, it could happen.
They have 3K girls. I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah, unless anyone else has thoughts on Kendra. I mean, Zach kind of said it all. I think she could have an episode title. She's gonna get
maybe.
She's a goofy, fun personality.
I don't like Kendra.
Okay. All right. Ingrid, who do you want as your final pick? You have 2 Lulus and a J Maya left on the board.
Yeah. This is hard, man. This is hard because I feel like these 3 are not lasting. I really feel like they're not. I am so sure that if
I love how someone with an idol is in this group of.
Well,
she has a candle, not an idol.
Right. True. But
if they lose again, she still will not have an idol.
Dylan, you know as well as anyone, you never want to see the candle. You know, because eventually it will get snuffed and you'll go out in 7th place. Love you both so much. Keep going, Ingrid.
Here's the thing. I am going to reluctantly pick Sean here, and here's why.
Zach wanted them, so good call.
I am so sure that if Reba goes to tribal, J Maya is going home. I like her. Yeah. I think she's great. Obviously, we kind of had this like weird blunder moment with her where like she's trying to decode the thing. She knows it's a thing, but Austin already has the thing to help decode it that she doesn't have. And so therefore she like can't solve it. And so I feel like that's almost like a metaphor for how her game is going to go, where it's like she's smart. She's like, I like her from an entertainment standpoint. I could not stand her in the preseason, but she's grown on me quite a bit. I think these other players are just a step ahead of her already. She's not in that 4 alliance. I do think that 4 alliance is going to stick long enough to vote together, at least for a 1 vote. So I'm worried about her. And then Sabaya, here's the thing about Sabaya. I felt like before last week's episode, I would have been a lot higher on Sabaya. I think that she lets the emotions get the better of her in a very opposite way of Emily. Where like Emily is like, emotions? What are those? Where like Sabaya is like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of my breach.
I feel that
a problem for her.
I feel that on a deep level.
Seeing in the preview, like her being like, we should get Caleb out, and her talking to Emily about that is wild and crazy, and I don't think it's gonna work. And I think it's just like a preview way of being like, ha ha ha, what could happen? So I'm picking Sean, despite the fact that he's like
the lesser of all three evils. He's
such a non-factor.
He is so invisible. It's almost astounding that he's
It's not even that he's invisible. He's getting confessionals, and he's like being shown to having conversations. It's just we don't know anything about Sean as a person.
Right.
Player.
Yes.
We see a lot of him, but we don't get a lot of who he is. We just
while this edit is pretty well balanced, he is somehow still purple. Even though he is getting like at least one confessional per episode at this point, which has not been the case for a lot of players in the past. Like you said, we don't know a damn thing about him outside of what we learned in the preseason, and that's a bad sign. And I kind of see him right now as just like a number for Caleb, the same way that Emily is kind of a number for Caleb, although she has more dimension as a character. So I think that Sabaya will go home before him on Lulu, and that's why I chose him, because I think the other two are literally going next on their tribes.
What is the name of the green tribe from 41? Ua?
Ua.
This he fills the genie spot for me of if there's going to be two people to come out of this tribe, it's going to be Caleb and Emily, and he's just like the last one left. If they lose again, it's like
they just have to vote him out.
I don't see a world though where they like actively vote him out, which is why I think he could be okay if they do win. Because once he gets to the merge, though, he could play like he wants to play a Todd Herzog game. I don't see it happening based on the edit, but like in positioning, he could easily fly under the radar with Emily as his Courtney Yates, and if he can find an Amanda, like that could very well happen. But I don't know either. But I like Sean. I think he's a really nice guy. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Sean? Austin, any thoughts on Sean?
No, I gave all my thoughts for these last three. I think they are potentially our next three going home.
Zach, any thoughts on Sean?
No, I think
can segue to your next one.
I think we're gonna have fun with this, Dylan, because I think instead of me saying who I'm picking, I'm gonna tell who your fourth pick is.
Okay, I'll admit right now, I could see a reason for wanting either of these two players, and I'll tell you why. But let me know who I'm having, because I know who you really like.
Oh well, you're getting J Maya.
Cool. Cool.
And here's my thing, right? Is that
something about Sabaya not being able to see through the rage really speaks to Zach.
It's true. No, and I will say, so here's my thing, right? I agree. I think these are the next three people potentially being voted off. Like, I don't think Sabaya and Sean survive until merge if they go back again. And I don't think that J Maya survives a first tribal, which kind of like really makes my soul sad, because I was actually pretty high. I liked her a lot preseason. The problem is, I think
she was your runner-up pick.
I think the we must get out Caleb thing is a scapegoat, and I actually don't think that Yellow probably loses this tribal, or this comp. I think this might be the first time that they actually pull out a win. And I think that we might see Red actually end up going, and I think this is when they would get rid of a J Maya. So I'm gonna keep Sabaya for like a time. I picked Sabaya over J Maya for like there's the potential of maybe a bit more longevity. But at the end of the day, I mean, like there is a world where she melts that candle and gets that idol, and she plays an idol, and I get a lot of points from it. There is a world where they swap and she ends up in a good position again. There is a world where that occurs, but like I think J Maya has a lot less possibility and potential of like ending up in a good position, whatever happens. And I think that's though it pains my soul, it's why I made my call.
Yeah. I'm okay with J Maya. I would have also picked Sabaya over J Maya though, because I do think, despite the preview showing Sabaya telling Emily we got to get out Caleb, there's a very good chance like we are just reading into the edit.
Oh yeah. Much. And they do that all the time.
And what if Sabaya and Emily are the team up and they do actually just get rid of Caleb eventually?
Right.
That could happen because Emily did give Sabaya the shot in the dark to show trust. And if that is kind of like a enemies to lovers type arc for the two of them,
that'd be iconic, honestly.
That could be a really cool storyline. And that in that case, if they get out Caleb, Caleb wouldn't have an idol if they can melt it. The thing is, if they lose next and she can't melt that idol, I just worry that between those 3 votes, instead of voting for Sean, they'll just vote for Sabaya. I think if she can get past one more tribal, I think she could be okay. J Maya, the reason why I'm okay with this is because the next 2 episode titles have been shared. The next episode is called No Man Left Behind, and episode 4 is called Music to My Ears. Who's the musician of the group? J Maya. So maybe there's a world where I get a point for an episode title if the musician says this is music to my ears. And if that's the case, it also means she's not going home next round. She'll go home the next round after that. I don't think J Maya's longevity is there, but if Red only loses one more challenge and they go Sifu before J Maya, then she can make the merge. And maybe then she's like an early juror, kind of like what was her name, Janine last year. Like I think there's a world she could end up just getting there. So
this was just picking your poison at this point.
Yeah, but I do think that there's potential for that. Like this game has been wild. I mean, we all talked about Lindsay earlier, but who saw Lindsay going home that early on that season?
Absolutely no
Especially
one.
an episode before that, she was in maybe the best position, and then she ended up going home. So we really don't know. Or maybe the people who are like the Carlas and Jessies are going to be the people that end up going far. Like sometimes you never know. But then you also have Gablers. Like I really think there could be potential for even Sabaya or J Maya to end up in the merge, and us all being like, oh, I guess we were wrong. And what if Blue loses next? Then Sean, Sabaya, and J Maya are all safe. And then we're looking at probably Austin losing either group.
That's what you think.
But yeah, I really don't know. I wait. I know you don't mean a showman where you say enemies to lovers for Emily and Sabaya, but I'd be down to see that. Yeah, a showmance. That's what.
Of course it would be. Of course it would be Austin and I's characters. Of course it would be because it couldn't be anybody else's. It couldn't be.
But yeah, that's our draft. Let me recap everyone's board, and then we'll kind of go through one last thought on the season and what do we think of our boards. I'll be honest, I'm a little underwhelmed by mine. I probably shouldn't have picked Drew first. I was thinking more advantages and edit than I was winner longevity because my next 4 winners went after that, and I couldn't get back around any of them. But I have Drew, Caleb, Jake, and J Maya. Zach has Austin, Kelly, Sifu, and Sabaya. Ingrid has D, Brando, Julie, and Sean, and Austin has Katura, Emily, Bruce, and Kendra. I really, really like everyone's draft boards for different reasons, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. Zach, any final thoughts on your draft board and the season so far? Just so everyone knows, our power rankings that Zach and I do every week, we will do them off air, and then we will post it tomorrow to the Facebook page so people can still keep up with it. But we didn't want to do draft power rankings here.
No, I mean, I think it's a great board. I think everyone's boards are great across the board. But I really, what I think is good is that, I mean, the only person who only has 2 colors on their team is Austin. But with probably the biggest gamble of the season, which is picking Emily second, which is like a huge, I mean, like it is big risk, huge reward. If it does pay off, I picked more red than I thought I would. Granted, it would have been 2 blue instead of 2 red if Jake doesn't go and you don't make that really, really good pick, Dylan. But we have each other's winner picks, which I think is only fitting. No, I think Kelly is a good pick. It's very interesting to see kind of like how my thoughts have changed. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks of the season, but I think like even just in the 2 weeks, you see such a huge difference in like how people like I don't think I would have picked Kelly on a draft 2 weeks ago, but for me, like she was almost a no brainer, especially considering she didn't go in the first 6 picks. So I mean, the fact that she went that long, I'm thrilled with it. Great season. I'm liking the season.
She's
so far.
my preseason winner pick and still my winner pick, and I didn't pick her first. I went with I don't know why I did that.
I don't know why either.
All right,
I did not make that mistake.
I was gonna say, Ingrid, any last thoughts on your board and this season going forward?
Yeah, look, I think my team's pretty goated. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I have a good group here.
She said, "I think it's pretty goated." I'm not gonna lie.
Look, I spend a lot of my life around teenagers. Okay.
You also thought her premiere game was pretty goated.
Kick this man off the podcast immediately.
Can't without kicking you.
I can't, otherwise I would be also kicking you off. So
yeah,
I don't
that's
want to
rude.
do that.
He's not here. We don't know him. We're getting a divorce. So anyway, he's only saying that because he's Delulu in his picks, in my humble opinion. Thank you very much. Yeah. I can't believe you said that. That was more zingy than anything the Zingbot said on today's episode of Brother.
I have finally come down.
I keep forgetting it's on Tuesdays. I need to go watch. I'm going to be late tonight.
We normally don't watch Tuesday episodes.
Grandpa needs to go to bed. Grandpa gotta go to bed.
Anyway, I think I have a really good team. I'm really happy with the people I ended up with. Shut up. That one was living in my brain. I was ready to say it when it was my turn. But yeah, I'm excited about the season. I think there's a lot of really good characters, a lot of really good potential players. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I hope I will like it more than 43 and keep 43 at the bottom of my new era rankings. But yeah, I think I'm in a good spot.
Already better than 43. We're good. Yeah, 43.
Anything's better than 43.
Man, but Cassie repping on the challenge. She's crushing.
She's so good.
I love her so much. All right, Austin.
I love my team. I got my girl Katura. That's really all I cared about going into this.
So you got her mortal enemy.
The other three,
and Zach's
the other three are there and will hopefully give me points.
The other three are there.
I do strongly believe that all three of you will lose a player before I do. We literally all just agreed on that like 3 seconds ago.
So. No,
I hope that I hope Emily's next. I hope Emily's next.
Jake doesn't fall in the fire. Bruce falls in the fire and gets medevaced again, and then Jake reenacts it later. And then they vote him off.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Oh my god.
I just don't think I'm losing a player, so I think I'm gonna get a little bit more day points. I think my team is overall 26. I think overall my team is pretty darn entertaining and is gonna be getting those confessionals. Like I think we've already seen Katura get a ton. Bruce, they're gonna eat up that returning player vibe. Emily gets so much airtime. Kendra's crazy.
I can't wait to see
that's
Emily
true.
The next 2 episodes.
But I love all of them. So I'm very happy with my team. It's a team of people that I genuinely enjoy watching. And I have 2 people from my original draft and 2 people from Ingrid's. So I get
same.
Best of
I have
both
2 from mine and 2 from his.
Damn.
And I have Katura.
There we go. All right. Well, have a good night, everyone. We will keep posted as it goes along. I'll send updates on how we're doing. I was trying to tabulate it now to see who's in the lead so far. I think it might be Ingrid because of the 3. Actually, no, it might be a tie between me and Ingrid. Anyway, we'll see.
Either way, Ingrid was one of those names.
Just by days, because Austin had Katura sit out and Emily, and Zach has Sifu sit out and Sabaya. So I think by nature, Ingrid and I have like a point more, but it's really no big deal. All right, guys, we'll see y'all next time. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me get this outro. Give me 1 second. Oh, nope, that's Jamie Lynn Spears. Bye.